Your mic on?
If you don't mind, then I'll
Is everybody ready? Is anybody unready? So can you repeat your conclusion about what you found from after this phone stops ringing?
Andrew?
What?
Your head back a little.
What is your conclusion about what you found?
We have reviewed the campaign finance records of the various David Paterson campaigns based on the inquiries that have come into the office, and with two exceptions, we have found that all of the itemizations there, the expenses seem to be proper. There were two for which we could not find adequate documentation, and I recommended on those, although there's no indication in the records that there's anything wrong because of inadequate documentation. I have recommended to the governor that he make personal reimbursement of those expenses, and he has done so. The total amount of those was about $253.
Now,
and the campaign has gone through extensive effort to reconstruct history on this, going back to 1999, and the governor made out a check for $253 yesterday, and that's been sent off to the campaign.
Errol, does the governor feel like he opened up a can of worms? It was so unusual for him to be so public about private matters. Now, is it a question of we're going to be going over everything?
The governor has sought to be forthright. He's also, he made himself available for questions, answered those questions. His campaign staff has made themselves available for questions, and I think we've been very open and honest about this process.
How would you describe the nature of the inquiries since the governor has come out with these private matters that you guys have been receiving?
Well, there have been a large number of inquiries. In some cases, however, the inquiries have bordered on being sexist by suggesting that many of the women involved in the campaign work for the senator, women doing legitimate work, were somehow romantically linked to the senator. The then senator, now governor.
Can you just comment on the woman that was mentioned in the Post piece today? When asked by a reporter from the Post, this $1,000 payment, did you work for, at any time did you work for Paterson? She said, no, I hardly know him. And yet there's a $1,000 payment to her. How do you reconcile that?
Well, I think this has been a very emotional time for some of the folks involved in these inquiries, and as I mentioned before, there's been an effort to sort of reconstruct history. You may not remember where you were in 2002, every period for the year 2002 or 2003, for instance. But there's been tremendous effort by the campaign and individuals involved to sort of reconstruct history, answer all these questions, and settle these questions.
But so you maintain that that individual did, in fact, work for Paterson and earned the $1,000?
Indeed.
On those two nights in question, when the governor, I guess, can't reconstruct what happened, is it his position that categorically those were not used for romantic assignations with staffers?
Well, in those cases, there wasn't adequate backup information for us to come to a conclusion about what the spending was for. So in those cases, at an excess of caution, the governor is reimbursed, and it's as simple as that.
And the question maybe for Henry is that, I know you were asked in the briefing, do you believe that this is it? I mean, do you anticipate that there will be any more reimbursements, anything else that will come to light that you haven't been able to find in your research?
I do not anticipate any further reimbursements. If there are further inquiries, we will check those. We will look at the records and see what we can come up with, but based on our review of the records, we don't anticipate there being any further reimbursements.
Thank you.
Okay.
What about the practice of his using the campaign credit card occasionally for personal expenses, Men's Warehouse, furniture store?
The governor said he did not knowingly use the campaign card to do that. There may have been cases where he did. In those cases, at an excess of caution, he's reimbursing the campaign.
And can you just go back to, I'm sorry, your best surmising on that second night with where you're reimbursing the Quality Inn on what may have taken place, and he was traveling with someone, he was coming downstate, and what might that charge have been?
I think that would be speculation at this point. I think, again, at an excess of caution, the governor's reimbursed for that night. He's repaid whatever cost, just to be clear that if there were any questions, you know, he's reimbursing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.